Hey guys, intro. So we've got electrician working in the house as well. I'll give this one till 9:30 if anyone joins the stream. But a lot of you guys seem to watch it afterwards. So it's winter in my part of the world. Got a bit of cold. Um, Nothing that's too serious. But guys, recording with Gaming Revolution, the social gamer, this afternoon. It's been a bit of a to and fro, but he is, I won't spoil it, but he is doing some amazing work as well with social skills and things like that as well. And guys, going to put a bit of a call out if there's any teacher that wants to come out about talking about literacy and the media decoding crisis as well. That kind of is a huge one at the moment that I've realised. Yeah, guys, staying well away from TikTok for a moment, a fellow creator of mine has kind of unintentionally created SHIT storm. She was well intended, but didn't think through about what she was saying. Yeah, and guys, didn't watch the project, but did anyone see the project jumping up and down about lives with people with a disability? And it's something I've seen since I've been involved in the NDIS and content creation. It's rather funny. The mainstream media feels it's okay to infantilize us unless we're doing something inspirational. And I'm like, that really doesn't sit right with me as well. It's like they're deliberately trying to distract us from something. Guys, when we get the lights back on, but I'm going to put some more books for the media decoding crisis up because, guys, I've just realised I've got a ring light I can use. It's funny that the people who are trying to distract us, it's rather funny that they're the ones who are trying to police our views the loudest, which I think is rather interesting. It's like dignity of risk, choice and control, and then when they hear what we're spending our packages on, guys, it's better. They're like, no, not like that. And guys, people are assuming it's just sex workers, but it's not, guys. A lot of it is therapeutic support. It might be teaching intimacy, it might be teaching boundaries, it might be reducing risk of SA. So it's such a complicated issue as well. And yeah, that's why I've kind of decided to go to YouTube and the podcast route as well, which is interesting because that means I'm a lot more freer, but it also means a lot more pressure as well. Guys, haven't seen a neurologist, had to reorganize that because of some family drama as well. So that was interesting. We had a family member who had a bit of a medical episode. He's totally fine, but it did shake everyone up as well. Guys, Deb and I have been recording again as well. She is still doing a lot of accreditation and stuff like that. And one thing she pointed out, and when she's got some time, I'm going to get her over to record, is emergency management plans. So we've all got care plans. We might have feeding plans, showering plans, hygiene plans, social assistant plans. But this is because in Australia, we're going into disaster season. Yeah, we've got a season that's disaster season. So it's like, is there a formal plan in place of if there was a COVID lockdown, if there was to be bushfires or flood or something happened in your still house that it was not fit to be lived in, might be kitchen flooded, it might be a kitchen fire, might be mold. Who are you going to go to? Who do people need to contact as well? So that is a huge thing as well to think about. And guys, working through the process of being able to talk about my exercise physiology place and journey and how that came to be and how they've helped so much as well. But guys, going to put a call out again that for particularly teachers, therapeutic support workers, not just bog standard support workers, but therapeutic support workers who might support behaviours of concern. I'll put my business email in the chat. So yeah, I'm looking for therapeutic support workers who support behaviours of concern, who can decode positive behaviour support plans and what you guys do. Because I run the Clock app, I'm seeing a lot of people who are saying that they're on positive behaviour support plans, they're on restricted practices, and they don't know why. I'm like, what are you not telling us as well? So guys, forgive the news, we've got workmen in the house as well. And guys, I'm starting to see on my friends, threads, fans and stuff like that reaching out. So if you ever see me in the wild and I'm not with a support worker or family, feel free to come up, grab a selfie. If I'm with a support worker, come up, grab a selfie. Support worker can be behind the camera. It's how we build community. And guys, I know some of my opinions might be a bit, let's say, controversial, but I'm starting to see a lot of people agreeing with me behind the scenes. It's just that they can't say anything in public for risking their job. They might have kids, a house, or general responsibilities as well. So that one's huge as well. For those of you who've been following my quilting journey, I will put some photos up this afternoon as well. And the other thing is I'm looking for like an accountant, personal finance person, to come and talk about really basic budgeting with a disability as well. I know Deb and I have talked about support of decision making, about guardianship, things like that. But if you're your own decision maker, how do you set up a budget? How do you stick to it? How do you actually save money when you'll have an asset limit? How do you stick to those goals? Because it can be really, really hard to stick to a goal when you know that it might be self-consciously sabotaged or unconsciously sabotaged, or you have never really been taught how to handle money as well. So guys, that's the interesting one as well. Deb and I have done some more subscriber content over on the podcast. So that one's going to be an interesting one to watch. So guys, I do have the Patreon as well. So I'm putting like my outtakes and more personal opinions on there, my Substack as well. Deb and I have also decided we're going to do a mailbag episode, comments and things like that. Definitely email us about questions. She was an educator, then a support worker, and now is a support coordinator. So definitely knows her stuff. All of her focus has been around people with disabilities. Amazing life story. So definitely, again, emails in the chat. Email any questions to her. Guys, just got to go blow my nose and I'll be back. No, yeah, and I'll find some TikTok clips that I'll download for Deb to talk about as well. And also still working out the time to talk to community pharmacists. So in Australia, it's end of financial year. So a lot of people are doing like accreditation, stock take, closing their books. So that's why they're like, yeah, I'm willing to come on, but it's just teeing up times as well. So guys, if you guys want to come on, open to different opinions, but I'm very much, if you respect me, I'll respect you. It seems to be that people don't seem to understand the word respect anymore as I'll respect you as a human being and you'll respect me as a human being. I'm seeing a lot of people, and it seems to be a TikTok phenomenon. I see it a bit on YouTube and a bit, but it seems to be a TikTok mainly, is that if they don't agree, you've got to be deplatformed. So cancel culture is alive and well. So that one is huge. Guys, kettle has boiled. Gonna make a cup of tea and come back. Also hoping to hear back from Epilepsy Action Australia. Reached out to them. They're just trying to, again, key up a media person to come on, talk about epilepsy, parasomnias. Going to reach out to the Brain Foundation. I have interviewed the Brain Foundation once before. Guys, this is not actually my first attempt at YouTube. So I did start YouTubing during COVID, but I have deleted the channel and asked the professional agency to totally delete that. That was a trash fire of a channel. Guys, I was all over the place, had no idea what I was doing, got myself in a hell of a mess. But I was not mentally well or physically well. And that also, I think, led to a lot of trauma that we're still starting to process now, which is huge. So, guys, I'll give it till about 9:15. I'll go and make coffee because, guys, I'm in the studio all day today. So I'm recording some of my own. I'm researching. Might take a break and ring someone and say, hey, this afternoon, do you want to get XYZ? But other than that, it's a massive day. Yeah, all of those YouTube creator channels, guys, they are right. You don't ever let anyone tell you YouTube and podcasting is easy. I know Mr. Beast took years, Joe Rogan took years. Talk to any YouTuber behind the scenes. Unless they have another platform like working in a university, school, someone in the media themselves, they're their overnight successes. And guys, there's a lot, even then, there's a lot of grinding behind them as well. Doing really, really well with my study. I just got to get back into that as well. For those who know, guys, doing really well with the community service I work with as well. So thank you, guys. Just going to pop out a bit. Hey guys, got my coffee. Thank you for waiting as well. So guys, budgeting, would love someone to come on talk about budgeting as well, because guys, budgeting with a disability is hard. Sometimes it might be that person works, but they only work casually. They're on DSP and also work. And if you're not on NDIS, you might be paying for care, because there are some ones that your user pays, like appointment services, taxis. You can get them discounted, but it can be a bit of a challenge to juggle, and especially with the cost of living, with like groceries and things like that. And also saw a TikToker last night, really amazing, and he was saying best piece of advice he heard when he was budgeting when he was a young college student was have a separate account and set up something to look forward to. It could be putting as little as $3 away, $2.50. he said it could be into a special coffee cup, a piggy bank, or an actual account. He said, and plan something to look forward to. It could be pizza in a park. It could be beer and pizza in a movie at someone's house. Just have something to look forward to. It doesn't have to be an expensive holiday as well. And sometimes those holidays might be a guide, scout, school camp as well. Then that was a really, really, really important one I saw as well. And guys, I'm going to set up a case study for Deb to kind of decode her role, because a lot of people still aren't getting the difference between a support worker, community nurse. And also, guys, I've reached out to some community nursing agencies, seeing if they'll get a community nurse or even one of their media people to come on as well. So that's an interesting one. But can I say the first agency I rang, I now see why they have the reputation they have in the community. I won't mention them. But it was interesting for the sheer fact that they were like, oh, we'll tee up a time if we get back to you, because they're so busy they get emails like that every day. Like, if they're getting emails like that every day, surely you have an opportunity to employ a communications officer, even just part-time. But again, a lot of people don't think like me. You've got to be a bit kind. And guys, really, really trying to balance life and content creation at the moment. So that's huge. Yeah, and I'll find some YouTube clips because, TikTok clips, because we're seeing a lot of day in the life of like a support worker, and they're really glamorizing it. They're not, so these guys might specialize, because there's different areas support workers can specialize. They're not showing the dealing with the meltdowns, the personal care, the cleaning. Guys, I've got to say, this is why I'm staying off TikTok for a while. I don't want to get myself involved in that. Sometimes wisdom is knowing when to stay in your own lane as well. So guys, I'll give it 15 more minutes as well. But I'm going to put a call out. Yeah. And I can film remotely, but generally I only try to take up an hour of people's time. But would really love to have a teacher talking about literacy, what their challenges are with classroom management and literacy, because guys, literacy and numeracy seem to be on the decline. We're not reading as much, we're not writing as much. It's important. Deb often talks about culture as well. And culture, bringing culture right down to the family. Some families might sit in front of the TV and you don't talk unless it's the ads. But some people might sit at the family dinner and do the turn off the lights, have candlelight and talk about the day. There is pros and cons to both. And some families might have a conversation of that as well. So Deb talks about culture, disability, and we think about culture of, where this person's from, where that person's from, this person's religion, that person's religion, this person's ethical views, that person's ethical views. But it all does come down to the family. And prepping people for going into like assisted living, a cell house, SDA is huge at the moment. And that's where I was not impressed. There's going to be a lot of backlash about the interview on the project about Oh, people using their NDIS funds to access sex workers. Well, as I said earlier in the video, well, it might be that they're on a positive behaviour support plan. It might be teaching them consent. It might be teaching them relationships. It might be touch therapy. There's a multitude of reasons. And there was a very well written article about the person who felt duped by the project and duped by their producers. And she's like, no, I'm over demonizing people with a disability and seeing that they're the problem. She's essentially waking up and seeing that it is the media, what us over on YouTube call the legacy media. So, guys, I've got some really good books to read if you're interested in media manipulation and stuff like that. Essential reading, Young Rupert, so Making of the Murdoch Empire. Guys, this one's an interesting one, and after I finish the live, I'm actually going to email his team, see if he'll come on. David Icke, interesting character. So when Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky came out, talking about media and how the media manipulates this, David Icke wrote The Biggest Secret, and it's showing about how people behind your scenes can manipulate your thinking. And then he's written this one about the media basically going, hey, Norm, you've exposed how they manipulate us, how the propaganda machine essentially works. I can show you how all the pieces fit together as well. And guys, this is kind of for some channels that I'm pitching to as well. We are not alone. And guys, I do a fair bit of reading. Guys, if you've got a local council library card, reading is free. And guys, talking about literacy, I'm not trying to judge. And if you walk into any public library and say, talk to the librarian, say, look, I need to talk to the librarian in a private area, and say, I'm having trouble with reading and writing, they will bend over backwards. They might have classes on a weekend. If you're in Australia and you walk into Centrelink and say to them, I'm having trouble with reading and writing, my job provider won't support them, and being polite, they will bend over bloody backwards to get you into TAFE, school, classes. And again, talking to Deb about some stuff, me going on respite, and she said, even mention it to your support coordinator and your planners. They can put it in your goals. They can help with funding to get you to TAFE, get you to, if you're under 16, get you re-engaged in school. Speak up. There will all, and the words of, guys, help me out here. It's a quote from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Help will be always given to those. Help will be given in Hogwarts to those who ask. Which is, yeah, ask. There will be someone to help. Also, guys, this one is going to be an interesting one. Hoaxes, and especially with like 4chan, 8kun and stuff like that, and jump scare channels. Really important to know what's a hoax. And guys, this one I've been fascinated with since doing my cryptography course, the Voynich manual. So I'm going to be reading that one as well. And guys, I'm going to do some shout out to some other creators that I love that are, and it shows you how varied my interests are. And guys, people have been emailing me asking where I got this cup. It was actually a Christmas present from a family member. So I think she did get it at Maya. It is a collector's one, but when COVID hit, it was like, no, I'm going to do it. Open it. So AJ from the Y-Files often does a lot of debunking as well. Internet mysteries, old school mysteries. He's covering a lot of Art Bell topics, coast to coast. I don't know if we had an equivalent in Australia. I would say Hamish and Andy, but they did come clean with a lot of their hoaxes and stuff like that. Then I'm going to say Simon Whistler's more serious channel, so Decoding the Unknown, and Today I Found Out. Huge fan of his work. Then I've got to say Dr. Jordan Peterson, and it's quite funny, whenever I mention him on the channel or even on lives, I get very, very mixed reactions. I get either one of two reactions. I get, I love him, I love what he's doing, I love what he's exposing. And then I get the, oh my God, he's done so much harm for the disability community, the LGBTQI community, he's a pseudo-intellectual. And while I respect those viewpoints, it's like and people are saying, oh, he's got super political. Guys, he was always political. That is how he rose to prominence. He was willing to put his academic career on the line for his values. This is a man who's taught at some of the world's top leading universities. And I have had cousins who teach at universities who are like, this man is fabulous. He's gone through hell with his physical dependence of benzodiazepines. But when I can get a pharmacist on the channel, I'd love to talk about the difference between physiological dependence and addiction, because a lot of people are saying he was addicted. We all have our addictions or physiological dependence. I'm dependent on my epilepsy drugs to stay seizure-free. Doesn't mean I'm addicted to them. It means I take them responsibly. I take them when I need to. They're actually packed. They're locked up at the moment. Even for Panadol and Nurofen in my living situation, I have to ask permission. If there's no one's home, I've got access to 10 as well. Deb was saying when we were talking about life in a SIL house and how she would manage that and risk benefit rather than risk management, she was saying about someone who had so much Panadol in their room, they had to do a full clean of his room because he'd buy the little travel packs and take them whenever he had a headache. He wouldn't let anyone know. He wouldn't record it. Because I am high functioning. Now, guys, that's another thing that I wanted to talk about is with this support worker who was over on TikTok. And guys, I'm contacted her. I'm a follower of hers. I'm just stepping out of the situation until it calms down. I don't want to be the person who inflames an already complicated situation. So, guys, let's just say support work is not for everyone, and she is trying to de-influence the glamorization of support work as well. And while let's just say what she said was unwise. Or let's leave it at that. But Deb was saying about working in a SIL house, doing community access, that you do get the behaviours of concern, but about risk benefit, benefits of taking the risks of going on the roller coaster, of planning a holiday, even little things down to like cooking and cleaning for themselves, because trust can be a huge, huge thing. But medication is something that shouldn't be messed with as well. But no, that's a really huge thing. So, yeah, definitely staying off TikTok for a while I concentrate on the podcast and the YouTube. But no, it's funny how people are like either love or hate Jordan Peterson, and he's not everyone's cup of tea. Let's be real, as adults, we're not expected to like everyone. Even as children, we're not expected to like everyone, but you still have to be kind and polite. And that, for a support worker you may clash with, is telling someone that you clash with that person. It's not trying to get them fired. It's just telling someone that you clash with them. Why? Is it a personality clash? Are they ineffective? Do they need more training? Are they more suited to working one-on-ones instead of in a cell? Do they need a bit more life experience? Are they better off in an office? Is their attitude towards support a bit too cavalier? Support is not for everyone as well. And there's so many grey areas in support as well. Guys, I'll give it 10 more minutes, and thank you for the like. And I know there's been a few people dropping in and out. But media and knowing context, I think it's going to become a huge issue. And especially as Elon Musk has bought Vine, and I know he's on camera saying he doesn't want it to turn into another TikTok and politicise and stuff like that. But it's going to be hard. So yeah. Hey, welcome. Thank you. So yeah. And yeah, Hera's legend. Yeah, we are not alone. Fermi paradox. For every star is a sun, where is everyone else? So I'm starting to get interested in game theory, simulation theory, theology, and guys, another content creator is Paul Wallace. Paul Wallace as well. Love his work, and he talks about playing ultimate frisbee, having a back injury, having a large convalescence, getting interested in the root theology of the Bible, what was edited out at the Council of Nicaea and what was edited out in 1 Corinthians, and looking at like the Book of Enoch, the Testament of Solomon, and how more complicated the world is. Guys, I personally think when we send the rover to Mars, the Martians are going to tell us, piss off and sort out our own shit. I really do think that as well. The other person love with content creation is Joe Rogan. Listening in sections to him having Graham Hancock and the traditional archaeologist on, but it's funny how Graham Hancock has actually done more research than the archaeologist about the Clovis first model, people who proposed that, who were lambasted and a pariah in their social circles, and how a lot of what he put together as a journalist and a researcher, the paleontologist, the paleobiologist, and the archaeologist are starting to go, oh shit, he was right, as well. So guys, I'll give it till 9:10, and I will ring this friend and say, look, what are you doing? I'm in the studio all day, gonna need someone to pull me out of it, as well. And guys, the other thing can I say with community engagement, hobbies. Hobbies can be expensive, but there can be cheap ways to do it. So it might be reclaimed materials, it might be materials from the op shop, it might be going and being the person who makes the cup of tea and coffee as well. So that is huge. And again, speaking up and saying that you need transport. So if you're willing to go a bit early, stay a bit late, someone might be able to drop you off. So, and there will always be things that you can do. So it might be guiding, scouting, boys brigade, girls brigade. Talk to your support worker, talk to your support coordinator. It might be a hiking group. I know Heart Foundation has started up the free walking groups. It might be Wilderness Society. Wilderness Society chapter in Toowoomba is huge. So welcoming. So with I can't talk about the campaigns, but one thing that we've been working on is a koala for the forest. So there's some koalas that aren't able to be released in the wild, and they're not suitable to go on public display at zoos. So it's a question mark of if they can be released into the wild or not. But there's a local wildlife carer who is actively using those trees. So it might be reforestation. So if you're into environmental Friends of the Escarpment, it might be your local church. Plenty out there as well. So guys, I'm going to have a mental break because there's a lot on today for me, both online and offline, because today is like my cleaning day. We're finally getting a lot of just little things fixed in the house as well. So we've got an electrician in the house, which is huge. And this is a huge thing for still houses, is that safety is a requirement. So if you're in a rental, the housing manager is going to have to be onto the landlord or getting it fixed and then paying back the landlord. So things like your lights, things like your showers as well. And guys, if you can get this over to Dear Modern, I would love to have him on talking about feng shui with a disability. So I know he's also an architect, and how difficult feng shui and architecture can be with physical disabilities, so the need for a wet room rather than a bathroom. So the difference between a bathroom and a wet room: bathroom generally has toilet, sink, shower, maybe a bathtub. A wet room, exactly what it sounds like. You've got your hoist, you've got your shower, you've got a toilet, but everything is going to get wet. So it's designed that it's sloped, designed that things go down as well. Guys, love some homemade places to come on, talk about how their NDIS journey, what their homemades are as well. Because I know my local chemist has become NDIS accredited, and one thing that he's doing is absolutely delicious and well thought out, is Riverina Farms do meals, prepackaged meals, and they're not the traditional cardboard like lean cuisine or something like that. They've got taste, they are packed fresh, absolutely amazing. Haven't tried the desserts yet, but going to. Guys, I've been on here a lot longer than I intended. So guys, if you can subscribe, that's the biggest way you can help the channel out at the moment, and totally and utterly free. See you guys.